The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is August 1st, 2018. This week, Futurist, funerals, and foreign policy. My name's Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the podcast where we talk about the news with fringe views, Canary Cry views. What is it? I forgot. Whatever. We're here.
And we're so consistent and precise. We are here. What's up, everybody? It's been a very interesting week. Those of you who are subscribed to the Canary Cry Radio Patreon got a nice little secret piece of news from an insider, which we will not be putting on a public forum. But if you're interested in what's going on over on the inside at Tesla, last I checked, the news had not come out. But if you're interested, go check that out over at patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio. What is it? CCR? No,
it's Canary Cry Radio. Yeah.
Yep. But this is this show. That's that show. First of all, Gonz, am I okay to jump right into this?
Let's do it.
Okay, jumping right in. First, a little update on Flippy, our buddy Flippy. We've got an article from VentureBeat.com. Flippy robot will fry chicken and tater tots at Dodgers Stadium this summer. That's right. Flippy's got a summer job. He's doing tater tots and fried chicken now. So, he's expanding his culinary horizons, and which is actually followed up by another article here from Food and Wine that says, Flippy the robot is the tater tot making boyfriend I deserve.
Wow.
So,
it's going there real quick, huh?
Yep. I know. We're mixing the food making robot with the human companionship. And if you guys want to read more on those articles, you can head to canarycrynewstalk.com, and we've got our aggregator going there. Lots of articles for you to sift through.
Yeah, there's a little video of Flippy in a Dodger uniform, wearing the blue and white there, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of creepy. It's like a giant, we've seen Flippy. It's a giant arm,
They're dressing him up in clothes now.
Yeah, he's all
the first
Dodgered
clothed robot.
He's definitely, he looks like one of the players.
He's taking sides. Sorry, Bay Area. Flippy's a Dodgers man. Little bit of sports there for you sports people.
Or maybe they'll get other Flippies to, support other teams, and then eventually they'll have a Flippy war where they just, or a Flippy cook-off. There you go. Flippy fried chicken cook-off.
Yeah. Another little update here, and more of a we told you so. 23andMe is sharing its 5 million clients' genetic data with drug client GlaxoSmithKline. That's right. 23andMe in the past, much like Obama's the Obamacare, you can keep your doctor, I promise.
Yeah.
23andMe has kind of turned their backs on the fact that they promised they wouldn't share your data with anybody. But don't worry, it's just one of the giant pharmaceutical companies based in London. So you should be fine.
Yeah, it says in the article that the problem with a lot of these privacy policies and terms and services is that no one really reads them. And that was according to a privacy expert at Yale Law School's Information Society Project. So, kind
of depends what side you're on, whether or not it's a problem or
right.
not.
I know. Yeah,
it's a problem for us, but it's a benefit for them. So There you go. Thanks, GlaxoSmithKline. Have fun with all the data. All right, you want to get into the main story here?
Yeah, let's do it. This is...
I will say thank you to all the Patreon supporters. We will be doing another extended report today. We're going to be talking about babies on the blockchain. The first baby has been put on the blockchain. Kim Kardashian getting into the Bitcoin game
crypto,
here.
Huh?
Yeah, I've got a couple crypto things there. And no, don't worry. This is actually one thing about Kim Kardashian that actually might be important to know. And also, parasite in cat poop could be reducing our fear of failure, study finds, which might explain a lot of my life choices. But okay, you can head to patreon.com/canarycrynewstalk. /CCNT, patreon.com/CCNT. Sign up there and you will get another episode every single week where we talk about all sorts of fun stuff. Okay, but now to one of our main articles here. This is on RT.com. We usually don't report from RT, but this is a pretty fascinating one.
We've done it in the past.
Yeah. By 2050, humans will attend own funerals as robots, says a futurologist. On top of planning your pension and future financial security, now's the time to put money aside for downloading your brain data, according to a leading futurologist who says we'll be attending our own funerals as robots by 2050. Dr. Ian Pearson, who has a self-proclaimed 85% accuracy record when looking 10 to 15 years ahead, says humans will one day, and in the not-too-distant future, hook their minds up to external machines while alive to boost intelligence, improve memory, and sensory capacity. External IT capabilities mean the technology can connect to your brain seamlessly, so it feels exactly the same, says Pearson. Furthermore, the scientist says that, funny how they call him a scientist, says that when you physically die, almost all of your brain will still be functioning, as a machine. Quote, by around 2050, 99% of your mind is running on external IT rather than in the meatware in your head, claimed Pearson in his blog. When your human body eventually gives into the inevitable fatal deterioration, Pearson says, quote, assuming you saved enough and prepared well, you can simply transfer your brain data to an android, attend your funeral, and then carry on as before. Still you, just with a younger, highly upgraded body. Some people may need to wait until 2060 or later until Android price falls enough for them to afford one, he says. In principle, you can swap bodies as often as you like because your mind is resident elsewhere. The Android is just a temporary front end, just transport for sensors. However, as humans... Are you ready to become cyborg? However, as humans have come to learn with personal data, the question as to who would own your proverbial brain after you physically vacated the planet is an important one. Like any fine print in a deal that feels too good to be true, Pearson explains that because the data will be stored on a cloud and not your personal server, it could be owned by Google, Facebook, Apple, or, quote, some future equivalent. So much like selling your soul to the devil, consumers will be tasked with selling their inner life's work of knowledge and memories for a version of immortality. You may, in fact, no longer own your mind. If that's not a good summation of pretty much our life's work of quote unquote reporting, if you could call that, I don't know what else is.
Yeah, that pretty much,
pretty much sums it up right there.
Are you ready to become cyborg?
That's right.
That's it.
And it's something interesting because we are kind of going through a little bit of a revolution as far as the data ownership. And there's a lot going on in that industry, in the blockchain industry, as far as data ownership and controlling your own sensitive data. But especially Google and Facebook, just brutally, just excoriated recently in the media, especially online, for how personal data is handled. And yeah, no, I can be pretty sure that when it comes to uploading your mind into a machine, I think even biohackers and people who are on board with that technology already will definitely not participate if Facebook or Google has anything to do with it. But who knows, people make weird decisions.
Well, it probably depends on the leadership of those companies. And right now, yeah, certainly not. But if you think about it, we're all still using Google, or a lot of us are anyway. And a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
people are
true.
still on Facebook. So, yeah, given even the bad PR, people are still sort of stuck using it on a day-to-day basis. What I found funny, let's just keep in mind that this whole concept is coming from Dr. Ian Pearson, or at least according to this article, who is, the article states, self-proclaimed 85% accuracy record when looking 10 to 15 years ahead. If we could say that about ourselves, can't we? We can probably go over there. We can be like 90.
We do say that.
Self-proclaimed 90% accuracy record when looking ahead
6
or whatever.
years ahead. I mean, we got a pretty good record so far in the past 6 years.
But it's funny how he's self-proclaimed. I mean, does he have a math equation that he probably does actually?
If I was trying to be accurate, I would say we've got a 30% self-proclaimed accuracy
probably
but it's only been 6 years, and a lot of the stuff we talk about is teleporting to the moon. So yeah, but I mean, as far as
over
the
time,
stuff,
we'll reach the mean, and
especially my Basil's career picks, I've been pretty much 100% on that. So kids, hey, listen, do as I say, not as I do.
Oh man, yeah, don't be a podcaster is the lesson. I think this is just getting people the real sort of revolution, if you want to call it, that I think is happening is one that is a very old one. This is the concept that we are only our minds. And scientifically, this is even being promoted. And that's what's interesting to me, is that this is so much about what we are and what scientists are saying now, because they've kind of figured out all the material side of things, or at least how the mind, so to speak, is affected by the various inputs and sensories and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now they're, having to admit that there is a mind.
And here's the interesting thing, because they do not say it outright in this article, which I find suspect, but they do allude to it. And probably as a result of Pearson's blog post or whatever, that uploading your mind to a machine and having, your mind as software running a robot after you're dead does not mean that your consciousness has been moved over. So, the idea of uploading your brain to a robot, the immediate assumption is that now you are conscious in the robot brain and can, operate as you did when you were in your meat suit. But the issue is we don't really know what consciousness is. Spiritual types thinks that it is your soul, so transferring the data from your mind into a robot doesn't necessarily mean your soul gets moved into a robot.
Right.
And so, it's basically just a robot who is acting like you, or is programmed with a set of protocols that emulate you so it's more for the people you leave behind than it is for you.
Right. Well, that was the big question with the movie Transcendence, right? Is it really, I can't remember the guy named Will, whatever his name was, played by Johnny Depp.
Yeah, that was Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Because they say, even here in the article, they refer to it as a version of immortality, and going through here, would own your proverbial brain, and all sorts of stuff like that. So that's kind of the issue, and that's where a lot of the deception could come, because even if you were trying to prove, let's say you are one of these companies who do mind uploading, and you got a bunch of rich people maybe at some fancy event, and you're trying to do some sales there, even if you have a previously uploaded brain in the robot, you can say like, this is Warren Buffett. Say hello, everybody. We know that Warren Buffett died in, not to speak that over him, but let's say he dies in 2030, which would be pretty impressive still, for how old that guy is. Warren Buffett died in 2030, but he uploaded his brain, and here he is, Warren Buffettron 2000, say hello. And then he comes out and acts like Warren Buffett, talks like Warren Buffett, makes predictions and spends money like Warren Buffett. And we all say to ourselves, oh, look at that. They successfully transferred Warren Buffett into a robot.
Yeah.
And you may be convinced that his consciousness, the Warren Buffett is inside there controlling and observing the universe. But in reality, at least as far as we're aware of now, it's just an intelligence acting the role of Warren Buffett. And so that could, be a huge deception to those thinking that they will live forever, and B, be a huge deception even to the rest of the world, because now you can have Warren Buffett continuing to make predictions and make investments and all this nonsense. But it's not really him. It's just some sort of computer program emulating his data.
Yeah, I think we've covered these ideas, but the concept of an autonomously running AI is much more likely in the imaging or a synthetic version of a mimicking of man and our behaviors than it is a actual rise of a self-conscious entity.
And that brings up the conversation of the image of God,
right?
Being human beings, and the image of the beast being this like weird human-like image, being a robot with sort of a counterfeit replication of the original image.
Yeah, and what's fascinating too is, I think that there are going to be a faction of people that may go this direction in terms of trying to preserve their mind. But I get the feeling that there's going to be quite a bit more people who are interested in the sort of keep my brain or my head alive or head in a jar type thing. And
until you can bring me back to life.
Or that, or like until you can fully connect me to, or like, just keep my head alive. Because, something that's failing, the thing that's failing is not my brain, it's my, my liver or whatever. So eventually you think about these people who want to try to live forever and trying to find a material kind of means to do it. It would make sense to be like, okay, preserve my head, because that's where my brain is, and that's where all my memories are stored and everything. But, in terms of like my organs and stuff, although there is research to suggest that there are some weird, brain type cells in other parts of your body.
Oh yeah. You mean, yes. Sorry, I was going to expound, but
right. But yeah, people, having organ transplants and having different emotions and things like that. So there's evidence to suggest that things like that go on, which goes to show that like maybe, again, just this whole thing is just not a good direction. This is really playing God at a level that mankind has not been able to. Maybe in for sure in generations, but since the ancient days when God had to really intervene. So
yeah, there you go. And that we'll move on to the next story here. But one last thing is, the idea of bringing a brain back to life versus uploading that brain to a machine. There is a difference there because people have death experiences all the time and come back, and they're still them. They still are their own consciousness. So theoretically, bringing a brain back from a deep freeze would still preserve whatever we consider consciousness.
Right. Well, theoretically.
But yeah, and the fact of the matter is we don't know. So, all right, let's move on to the next story here. Okay. Speaking of the beast system, Gons.
Oh, they busting that out.
Speaking of the beast system. Beast system.
Yeah.
This is scmp.com, which is South China Morning Post for all you people who are ignorant about what SCMP are.
The ignorant masses who don't know about the South China Morning Post.
China Science, artificial intelligence immune to fear or favor is helping to make China's foreign policy. It says here, attention foreign policymakers, you will soon be working with or competing against a new type of robot with the potential to change the game in international politics forever. Diplomacy is similar to a strategic board game. A country makes a move and others respond. All want to win. Artificial intelligence is good at board games. To get the game started, the system analyzes previous play, learns lessons from defeats, or even repeatedly plays against itself to devise a strategy that can be never thought of before by humans. Ugh. It has defeated world champions in chess and Go. More recently, it has won a no-limit Texas Hold'em poker and, quote, imperfect information game in which a player does not have access to all information at all times, a situation familiar in the world of diplomatic affairs. It's interesting that he's comparing poker to international affairs, but I guess there's some parallel there.
I mean, there's a lot of bluffing. There's a lot of true, deception. I mean, poker is probably the closest game to international affairs.
Yeah. Several prototypes of a diplomatic system using artificial intelligence are under development in China, according to researchers involved or familiar with the projects. One early stage machine built by the Chinese Academy of Sciences I'm butchering this. Chinese Academy of Sciences is already being used by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The ministry confirmed to the South China Morning Post that there was indeed a plan to use AI in diplomacy. Quote, cutting-edge technology, including big data and artificial intelligence, is causing profound changes in the way people work and live. The applications in many industries and sectors are increasing on daily basis, a ministry spokesman said last month. The ministry, quote, will actively adapt to the trend and explore the use of emerging technology for work enhancement and improvement. And quote, China's ambition to become a world leader has significantly increased the burden and challenge to its diplomats. The, quote, Belt and Road Initiative, for instance, involves nearly 70 countries with 65% of the world's population. The unprecedented development strategy requires up to $900 billion of investment each year for infrastructure construction, some in areas with high political, economic, or environmental risks. The researchers said the AI policymaker was a strategic decision support system, with experts stressing that it will be humans who will make any final decision. The system studies the strategy of international politics by drawing on a large amount of data, which can contain information varying from cocktail party gossip to images taken by spy satellites.
Yeah, and the article goes on, but I think we got enough here to talk about it, and maybe we can bring some in a little bit. But I mean, there you go. Artificial intelligence running plays for China's foreign affairs ministry. I mean, this is it, man. That's Skynet. We say that a lot, but like straight up artificial intelligent robots making these types of calls. I will, they do say that, human beings will make the final decision.
Yeah,
but how weird is it? But even like, that doesn't even make me feel better. Like, Of course, a human being will make a final decision. The human being has to like meet with the leaders of other countries. You're not just going to get an email from an artificial intelligent foreign policymaker and like take that as word.
The law.
Yeah, but the fact that politicians are going to be like, okay, what should we do? Consult the oracle and let the artificial intelligent, policymaker provide the info. I mean, it's really no different than like ancient Greece consulting, fortune tellers before making decisions.
Yeah, but this is more accurate, Basil. Come on.
It's based on data and science.
Here's the other thing too. Think about being able to analyze everything a politician has said in the past and being able to pull it up. And then also, the AI is going to be filming all, anytime there's anything said publicly, do you think they're going to start having like AI analysis of body movements and stuff like that to
absolutely.
See? I mean, that's probably already happening to a degree, but I mean,
well, on the aggregation for Canary Cry News Talk, if you head over to the website, there's an article about artificial intelligence, like being able to read so much about your personality based on your eye twitching and like your and facial micro expressions and stuff like that. So yeah, no, for sure they're feeding all of that into this robot to predict, if Trump is bluffing or whatever.
Right. And that's that does two things. One, yeah, it makes things more transparent, but two, it kind of informs the human agent how to even be more deceptive. If you're going to have to really trick the AI, you got to have probably your own AI, and then also your own behaviors can be shaped. So man, we are being completely
which is possible. I mean, people do a lot of things to try to fake out like polygraph tests, you know, and so it's just going to add a whole nother level of deception to what we already know is a high level of deception within the public political arena. We already can't trust what a politician says publicly, whether they're campaigning or, trying to soothe the masses. We already know we can't listen to their words, but now we know, with an artificial intelligence watching them, they're going to know that, we can't even trust their body movements or their, body language, I suppose.
Body language,
to say.
Yeah. It says here, Liu Yu, an associate researcher at the Institute of Automation at the Chinese Academy of Sciences in Beijing, and who was involved in the development of an award-winning AI wargame system for the People's Liberation Army, said human diplomats would have difficulty winning a strategic game against AI. And he says, quote, AI can think many steps ahead of a human. It can think deeply in many possible scenarios and come up with the best strategy. So it can think. It's just weird. It has
so much more processing power than even a group of humans.
Yeah, it's just it's crazy.
Looking at this article led me down another rabbit trail to this article that's titled "China Brings Star Wars to Life with Laser AK-47 that can set fire to targets a kilometer away."
Always finding the weapons.
That's fun. But if their soldiers are anything like stormtroopers, we have nothing to worry about because they can't hit anything anyways. So that's about all the time we have for today, folks. Head over to patreon.com/CCNT. We're going to be recording the extended report right after this. We're talking about the baby on the blockchain. He's there, folks, as well as Kim Kardashian publicly accepting her first Bitcoin, as well as a parasite you can get from cats that turns you into a fearless monster. Ooh. Okay, so there you go. Make sure to go do that. And hey, if you got friends who are still getting their news from other sources and they're not getting the perspective, the canary cry perspective over here, go ahead, let them know. Give them a little rattle,
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
Blowing minds and stopping crimes.
There you go, folks. That's right. Go out, rattle a few cages. Show them what's up. Let them know what we're talking about over here, what that means for the futures of human society, as well as, who knows, possibly the soul. I think that's all we got. Any more announcements? Wow, we got like 20 seconds to fill here. Gons, anything you want to let the people know? Yeah. Oh, don't do that. The worst one. Okay, folks, that's all the time we got for today. Thank you so much for listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next week. But until then, think outside the cage.
You're going down, Olstein.